Good morning and welcome from my home here in British Columbia, Canada. Thank you for joining for our 45-minute live class. Every week we switch out the style and the theme. So today we're doing a Hatha practice for happy hamstrings. So for this class you will need a strap if you have one, or a bathrobe belt, or a TheraBand, or a regular belt, whatever you have to hand. And you might also like to grab either a couple of blocks or a bolster so that we can support under the knees in certain shapes. You could also use a rolled up blanket for that. And then further to that, if you'd like a blanket or eye pillow for Shavasana, then bring those along to your mat as well. I'll meet you on your mat in Sukhasana, easy pose. Okay, so for Sukhasana, I like to elevate the pelvis with a prop underneath and place a blanket for the ankles to rest on. So if that feels good for you today, you can do the same. And then rest your hands to your thighs, sit nice and tall, roll your shoulders down your back, lengthen up through the crown of your head, and maybe close your eyes or bring your gaze down towards the floor. Begin to receive your breath. Begin to notice how you are in this moment. How are you feeling today? How's your mood, your energy levels, your temperature? How does it feel to sit to the earth, grounding down through the seat? Continue to notice your body and your breath as you settle, as you begin to slow down. And let's take a couple of clearing breaths in order to set the tone for our practice, to release anything we've been holding or anything that is stagnant or stale that we're ready to release. So take a nice big inhale through the nose and a cleansing exhale from the mouth. And two more of those. Inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. One more cycle in and out. And then return to a steady natural breath. On your next inhale, lift your shoulders up, and then exhale, roll them back and down. Do that again. Inhale, lift the shoulders up, and exhale, roll them back and down. One more time. Inhale to lift. Exhale to roll back and down. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes and roll your wrists, and maybe move your head a little side to side. And take a nice big stretch. And exhale to land your hands back to your legs. Place your right hand on your left thigh and your left fingers behind you on the floor. Inhale, sit nice and tall, long spine. Exhale, start to spiral from the belly, from the chest, and then finally turn your head all the way around to the left. Keep breathing in to lengthen the spine and breathing out to perhaps deepen the twist. Do that 2 more times. Inhale to lift and exhale for twist. 1 more cycle in and out. Inhale all the way back to center. Exhale, land your hands on your legs. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. Second side, left hand on the right thigh, right fingers behind you on the floor. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, spiral from the belly, the chest, and finally the head, all the way around to the right. Keep inhaling for length and exhaling to twist. As you inhale, come all the way back to center, and exhale, lower your hands. Inhale, tilt your tailbone back, bring your belly and chest forwards and lift your chin. And then exhale, round the spine, coming into seated cat-cow. 2 more cycles of this. Inhale, roll forwards, maybe slide your hands up your thighs, hug your elbows back. Exhale as you round the spine, hands towards knees. 1 more time. Inhale, slide the hands up the thighs, lift the chin and chest. And exhale to round the back, look towards the chest. And come all the way back to center. I'm just going to face the front of the mat now, as many of you might already be doing. And I'm going to bring a strap and a block and a bolster. So I'm going to sit on the block. I'm going to place the bolster perhaps under one of my legs. So here we are sitting on the block. This is to elevate the hips and to help us tilt the pelvic bowl in a forwards direction so that when we hinge in a forward fold, our body's already naturally moving in that direction. We're going to extend our right leg out in front of us, and here is where your bolster might be handy under that right knee. For some of you, you won't use it. You will just simply extend the right leg long. And then the sole of your left foot is connecting to your inner right thigh. If you want, you might find that a prop option might be better to support under that left knee. And then your strap is available to place under the sole of your right foot with your hands wrapping around the strap either side. We'll begin sitting nice and tall, inhaling the breath. And then as we exhale, we hinge forwards at the hips, length through the spine, leaning the chest towards the toes, maybe wrapping the hands around the strap a little more. Janu Shavasana, this is a knee to chest pose. If you're not using the strap, perhaps you have your hands wrapping around your lower shin, ankle, or maybe you're reaching your hands towards your right foot. If that's the case, just be really mindful that you don't start to round the back and your shoulders don't start to lift up. We want to maintain length in the spine. So don't force this if it's compromising the position of your back. Place your hands a little higher up the leg. Of course, the focus here is a stretch into your hamstring, the 3 strands of the hamstring. However, you might be experiencing this stretch into the sole of the right foot, somewhere up the back of the calf muscle. Some of you might experience more of a release in your lower back or up the length of the spine, all depending on your unique body. Let's take 3 more breaths here. This is just an opportunity to explore the differences between the right and left side this morning. Now you can either stay hinging forwards as you are, this is great, or we can take it a little further into a twist and maybe getting into the outer right hip and thigh by placing the left hand either around the outside of the right foot or ankle or shin, rooting your right hand down by your side nearer your right hip on the floor. And then turning your chest to the right, looking to the right, and begin leaning your left ear towards your right leg. Keeping the length in the spine, keeping the right foot flexed, and just notice how this changes the sensation of stretch, where you're now feeling it. You might not need to hinge very far forwards in order to feel the intensity of this stretch in your outer hip and thigh. Let's take 3 more breaths. And use your inhale to come all the way back upright to center. And extend your left leg long and bend your right knee. So same on the other side. The sole of that right foot connecting to your inner left leg. Maybe there is a prop under the right knee. Maybe there is a prop under the left knee so that there is more softness through that left leg. Maybe you have a strap around the sole of your left foot, or maybe your hands are resting on your left leg. Janu Shavasana on the second side. This is lengthening through your spine to begin, and exhaling as you hinge forwards, head to knee pose. So beginning here, just monitoring how the 2 sides might be a very different experience. Many of us are tighter on the left side of the body. This is our yin side of the body. It's our cooler side, so it's often a little tighter. Often takes a bit more time to create those stretches and maintain the length that we're creating. So we have to be patient. So just notice how your left side feels. And keep actively hugging your left hip back towards you as you lift and lengthen the crown of your head and your chest forwards. There is a tendency with this pose, because of its name, head to knee, that the back starts to round and we start to bring the forehead towards the knee. But in actual fact, we want to maintain the length in the spine and encourage the chest plate towards the left shin. So we keep length running up and down the entirety of our back body. Take 3 more breaths here. And then if you'd like, removing your strap if you have one, let's take the right hand to the outside of the left leg, as far down the left leg as we can reach, maybe around the outer left foot. The left hand is rooting down by your side on the floor, so you have that stability and balance. You're turning your chest more to the left, keeping your legs exactly where they are, and then leaning forwards from this place, keeping that left foot flexed, hinging from the hips, spine long. Breathe into that. Say good morning to your IT band. You're encouraging your right ear towards your left shin. Three more breaths. And then slowly start to come all the way back up to center. Extend both your legs in front of you, lean back into your hands and just roll your ankles, move your toes, shake out your legs. Take a nice cleansing exhale breath. So now that we've monitored both sides of our legs, we can take that information with us as we move further into the practice. So now we're going to come onto our hands and knees. Make sure your props are nearby. And then once you're on your hands and knees, spread your fingers wide, hands under shoulders, knees are under your hips, your toes are tucked, your belly button's drawn in. We're going to come into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Shavasana. So start to extend the backs of the legs towards the sky, pelvis high, rooting down through all 10 finger pads. And then once your pelvis feels nice and high, you're hugging your heels back and down towards the floor, relaxing the head in between the arms. A little softness through your elbows so you're not locking the joints. Shoulder blades actively moving down the back of your rib cage. You feel a lovely space between your ears and your shoulders. Breathing into the backs of the legs, you might enjoy just rocking through the hips, paddling the heels one at a time. And if the shape just does not feel great today, no problem. Stay in tabletop and simply extend one leg back at a time. So you're pushing the right heel back if it's the right leg you're trying first. So you get a nice stretch into the Achilles and the calf muscle. You get to iron out some of the creases in the back of the knees one at a time. From down dog or tabletop, we'll meet floating the right leg into the sky as you inhale. As you exhale, hug your right knee into your chest and step your right foot forwards between your two hands. You can be on your fingertips here with the back knee up or down on the mat, or you could put your hands on blocks at the blocks at their highest height. From here, we're in a low lunge. Start to lift your chin and your chest towards the sky. Breathe into the stretch in the front of your left hip flexor. Further to this, let's lift the back knee off the mat and start to extend both legs towards straight. You're really spreading your right toes into the floor in front of you, and you're nice and high on the ball of the back foot. Start to lean your chest towards your right shin. Hug your right hip back and down. Imagine you're squeezing an imaginary beach ball between your inner thighs. Nice. Let's create a little flow with those two shapes. So as you inhale, you're going to bend into that front knee and lift your chin and your chest in your runner's lunge. And as you exhale, you're going to send the pelvis to the sky, lengthening the two legs and leaning your chest towards your right shin. Again, like this. Inhale, bend the front knee, lift the heart space. Exhale, start to lengthen the legs. They don't have to completely straighten, just towards straight. Let's stay here. Let's explore adding in a twist. So you're rooting down through that left hand. Maybe your right hand comes to the right hip. You can press your right thumb into your right hip crease to help push the right hip back and down a little. From here, options squeezing through your inner legs. Turn and open your chest more to the right. Looking to the right. Maybe even extending your right arm up to the sky. This is a revolve pyramid variation. Find your breath. Squeeze through those inner legs for stability and balance. And then exhale, start to bring a right hand to your block, bend into that right knee and step forwards into a forward fold. Take a halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, knees soft. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. You can have your fingertips on the floor or blocks. You can wrap your hands around opposite elbows. Or you could interlace your hands on your lower back and roll your shoulders up, back and down. Extend your long arms into the sky. Keep the knees soft and encourage your rib cage to rest towards your thighs. Maybe shake the head a little bit. Maybe give a little more weight to your 10 toes and a little less weight to your heels. Slide your hands down the backs of your legs if they were interlaced. Fingertips on the floor in front of you. Take another halfway lift. Exhale, fold, stepping back with your left foot. Walk your hands around to the long edge of your mat and turn all 10 toes to the long edge of the mat. Your big toes are slightly turned in. Your two hands are either flat on the floor or again, you're bringing some of your blocks with you so that your hands can be on your blocks. If you don't feel comfortable with your head lower than your heart, keep looking at the floor and keep the head in line with the heart. If you're comfortable lowering the head, start to bring it towards the floor, crown of the head heavy, hands flat to the floor perhaps. Draw your belly button towards your spine and again, lean a little more into your 10 toes and a little less into your heels. Find your breath rhythm here. Keep softness through the knees as much as you need. Don't ever overstretch. Never be in a place where you feel like you're really forcing or your body is offering you signals like electric qualities or numbing or tingling or sharpness. Those are signs to back off a little bit or a lot. So please listen for those. You can keep your arms where they are, or you can walk your hands forwards and into a version of downward facing dog with your hands and arms. So arms long, head hanging between the arms parallel, fingers spread. Stay like this, or take your right hand around the outside of your left leg And slide that right hand as far down the left leg as you can. And then turn your chest and look under your left arm. Breathing into that upper back. Place your right hand back on the floor. Take your left hand around the outside of your right leg. Slide the hand down the leg. Turn your chest under your right arm. And breathe. Come back to center. Now walk your hands to the back of the mat, bringing your blocks along with you. Turn your left foot to face the back of the mat and come onto the ball of your right foot. You're either again on your fingertips or maybe your hands are on your blocks. You can have your back knee lifted, so that's your right knee lifted or right knee lowered to the floor. And here we are in our runner's lunge with the chest proud and lifted, and breath into the front of the right hip. Let's see if we can add on that flow from before. So inhale to lift and lengthen the chest in this lunge. Exhale, start to lift the pelvis towards the sky and fold your body over your left leg. You're nice and high in the ball of that right foot behind you. You're hugging your left hip back and down, chest towards your left shin. Let's flow here. Inhale, bend the left knee, lift the chin and the chest, runner's lunge. Exhale, lengthening the legs, squeezing that imaginary beach ball between the inner thighs. Again, inhale to bend. Breathe into the heart space. Exhale to come into this pyramid variation. Here we are, maybe keeping the right hand on the block or fingertips on the floor. Left hand to the left hip. Hug the left hip back and down. Maybe turn your chest to the left, squeezing through those inner legs. Maybe extending the left arm into the sky. So remember, there's always lots and lots of options to choose from as you move towards more depth in the pose. You can add on as many of these layers as you want. And then exhale as you start to lower that left hand, bend the left knee and step forwards, Uttanasana. Take a halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. And again, remember in your folds, if you don't want to lower your head towards the floor, keep your forearms on your thighs and extend forwards through the crown of the head. So head and heart remain on the same line. If you want to fold forward, if that feels comfortable for you, then continue to allow the crown of the head to get heavy towards the floor. You can take any of those variations we did on the first side, or perhaps just rest your hands towards the back of the head and just enjoy this little decompression between the head and neck. Lovely. Return your fingertips to the floor or your blocks. Take another halfway lift. And as you exhale, step back with your right foot. Walk your hands and feet to the long edge of your mat again. Maybe bring your blocks along for your hands to rest on. Make sure your big toes are slightly turned in and that you're spreading the pinky toe edges of your feet into the floor. Arches are lifted, weight in the toes. Hinge forwards at your hips again. Option to do any of the variations we did on the first side, or wrap your hands around the outsides of your ankles so that you are balancing just on your 2 feet. And then walk the hands back where you can see them. Walk the hands to the front of your mat again. Come and face the right foot facing forwards. You're on the ball of your left foot. And now we're stepping back to downward facing dog or back to tabletop and exhaling the breath. Come forwards into a plank position, knees up or down, and then exhale, bend the elbows and come all the way to the floor through Chaturanga Dandasana. Untuck your toes and let the tops of your feet rest to the floor. Place one hand on top of the other, your forehead to your hands, and just start to rock your hips and your legs side to side. Now we are releasing any remaining tension in the lower back, the glutes, and the hamstrings. So we spend a lot of time in our yoga practices lengthening and stretching the hamstrings, but it's really important to know that we need to also pay attention to the length in the hip flexors and in the quadriceps on the fronts of the thighs. So we did a little work in our lunges to open up the hip flexors, and now I want us to lengthen the quadricep too, so that the upper quadrants of this leg feel equally length on all sides. So here you are, you're going to bend into your right knee. You're encouraging your right heel towards your right glute. Now, some of you will take your right hand behind you, wrap the right hand around the top of the right foot, and encourage right heel towards glute that way. Trying your best to keep your thighs parallel of one another and not let the right knee go wide. You can stay with your forehead to your left hand, or some of you might prefer to prop yourself up on your left forearm. This does create more of a gentle back bend, so just be mindful of that. If reaching your right hand to your right foot is not for you, we can create a loop with our strap and place it around the right foot or around the right ankle, and then we can use the leverage of a hand to the strap to bring that right heel to glute. Now, as you do this, if you want to intensify it, make it a deeper stretch, you can press your pubic bone into the mat. See how that feels. Lovely. And then you can release that side, lowering the foot. Place your two hands back on top of one another, and then just rest your left ear to your hands. Bend back into that right knee, but this time slide the right knee up the side of your body towards your right armpit. You're coming into half frog pose, so that now we can offer a gentle stretch to the inner leg lines, the adductor muscles. We stretched the abductor muscles earlier when we did the stretch into the IT band. So now getting into the inner leg. Try and keep both hips facing down to the floor. There's a tendency for the right hip to want to lift a lot here or to clench a lot here. So just try and relax the area of the pelvis as much as you can. And then start to slide that right leg to meet the left. Exhale your breath in center, maybe rock your hips and legs once again. Second side of all that, so bending the left knee, heel coming towards your glute, left hand around the top of the left foot, so you bring the heel towards you, or placing that strap in a loop around the top of your left foot or around your left ankle. Heel coming in towards the glute, pressing the front of the pelvis into the floor, trying your best to keep your thigh bones parallel. Feel free to pour your releasing exhale breaths into the mat. And then releasing that left foot back to the floor. Place your right ear onto the hands. And then slide the left knee up the side of the body towards your left armpit. Make those little adjustments to the front of your body so it feels grounding into the mat. Invite breath into your lower belly to help with this grounding process. Being on the belly can be very soothing for the nervous system, so just notice how your body is feeling. Where is it slowing down? And then when you're ready, slide that left leg to meet the right. Exhale your breath in center, forehead to hands. Rock the hips and legs. Fully exhale your breath. And we're going to simply roll onto our backs from here. So keeping your head to the front end of the mat. Move all the way onto your back body. And begin to grab your props for Shavasana. So I'm going to place a bolster under the legs so that they can feel fully supported after all that hamstring work. Legs wide, toes rolling out. Maybe you place a blanket over the entirety of your body, or maybe you just fold the blanket over your torso. Maybe allow the weight of the blanket to just rest heavy on your lower belly to continue with the grounding, anchoring process. Maybe you add an eye pillow over your eyes to shield out any remaining light in the room. Or maybe you do this just simply with a piece of clothing. And then check that your palms are facing up. And your shoulders are completely relaxing You might nuzzle the shoulders underneath your body a little more. Check that your pelvis is completely relaxed, meaning you're not trying to hold the legs together. You're not clenching in the glutes. There is a complete weightless quality to your body now as you drift and allow the benefits of this practice to soak into every cell of your body. I will call you from Shavasana when it's time. Until then, there is no more to do. If you have longer to dedicate to your Shavasana today, then please stay as you are. There is no rush to come out. If, however, it's time for you to return to an upright position, start to deepen your breath and add a little movement into your fingers and toes. Start rolling your wrists and ankles, and when you're ready, take a full inhale breath and a long body stretch. And then exhale to hug your knees to your chest and rock on your back. And gently roll onto your side and take a couple of breaths. And find your way back up into Sukhasana, a tall, easy seat. As you sit, just recognizing your body once again. And let us close with a cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. May the length and space you've created in your body today stay with you as you step off your mat and be a benefit and service to you as you go about your day. It was my pleasure to guide you. Thank you so much for your time, for being here, for sharing in this community. Namaste.